Hello everybody, Tyranno here, and welcome to our first video looking at the Alpha Strike dev server. And for the first video, we are going to be taking a look at the M60-2000, or 120S as it's called in game, which is basically an M60 with the turret of an Abrams tank. And this is coming in at rank 7, battle rating 10.0, between the M60A3 TTS and the M1A1 HC. So as you can see, there was a 2.3 battle rating gap between those two vehicles, and the 120S nicely fills that gap in. And of course, because it's now got the turret from the Abrams tank, it comes with the excellent 120mm gun, which is much better than the 105mm from the M60 TT3. So you've got the M830 HEATFS shell, 480mm penetration, the M829 APFS DS shell, 481mm at 500 meters, and then the A1 variant with 589mm penetration at the same distance. Also comes with a laser rangefinder for long-range shooting, can be fitted with smoke grenades, and it comes with thermal vision devices for the gunner and night vision for the driver and tank commander. And the gunner gets optics of 3 times to 10 times zoom. I believe the TTS only has 8 times zoom, so again this is better for long-range shooting. And of course, you've got your 12.7mm machine gun on the roof here, and a 7.62mm machine gun on the roof and in a coaxial position. Unfortunately, some of the shells at the front are in a very vulnerable place because, as you can see, it is still the regular M60 hull, and so it is very vulnerable, especially to vehicles around this tier. Though, of course, your turret is much more well protected, so you've got your composite armour around the turret cheeks. And if we go to the protection analysis a second and compare it to, say, the T72B, so that's firing at you with HEATFS shells, of course it will go straight through the hull, and unfortunately there is this glaring weak spot where the turret meets the hull, but the actual turret itself is pretty well protected, especially from the front, although you've got these areas up here on the roof which are quite vulnerable, to be honest. I mean, even with a high explosive shell, this is going to be a very vulnerable part of the tank, so you're definitely going to want to be fighting hull down as much as possible. And there's a bit of a glitch with APFS DS rounds because, of course, it seems to suggest you can't penetrate here. Of course, you can, but of course, the turret itself is, again, pretty well protected. But then you've got your anti-tank guided missiles, and that will go straight through most areas other than the turret cheeks. Although even there, you can still do a little bit of damage. And the top tier APFS DS round, again, glitched, but you will have at least a possibility of going through the turret cheeks now, as you can see there. And you've also got these composite screens and side skirts around the side, which do provide a little bit of protection against autocannon fire. So if we look with the Puma, you can see that penetration would be fairly unlikely in some places. Might be able to penetrate a little bit in some areas, but again, like I say, provides much better protection than without the side skirts. And I believe the TTS does not come with side skirts. And of course, you've got a little bit of internal armour around the ammunition at the rear here, but it's only 38mm thick. So it should catch spalling, but not much else than that. And of course, it has the same engine as the TT3, so 663 horsepower, 6 gears forward, 2 gears in reverse, and that gives a top speed of 29.9 miles per hour in forward and 5 miles per hour in reverse. And you've got your standard crew of 4, so you've got your loader, commander, and gunner in the turret. Commander can also find the main armament, and your driver is down here in the hull. So yeah, that is the 120S, and this really reminds me of the M4 T26, which is basically an M4 Sherman with the M26 Pershing turret on top. And like that vehicle, the hull is going to be a massive weak spot, but the turret is a much needed improvement. So you're going to be very vulnerable to the hull, but your gun is going to allow you to engage much tougher enemies and engage them at longer ranges. So I think this will be a very good tank. Like I say, it fills that gap between the TTS and the M1A1 HC. Because America doesn't really have much at 10.0. You've got the M3A3 Bradley, you've got the LAV AD, and the M1128. The M1 Abrams itself starts at 10.3, so this does help with 10.0 lineups a little bit. And although it is a little bit slower, it will still do decently enough. And like I say, you're just going to have to really try and make sure you keep your hull down when using this. And if you're an enemy, yeah, just shoot for the hull when you'll deal with this tank pretty easily. But yeah, definitely a tank I'm glad is coming to War Thunder in the next update. Anyway, just a quick video for today. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I've been Tyranno, and I'll see you next time.